Hi, Marie. So your horse looks like a very sweet mix that you have. I know you said he was older. So I'm just going to point out some things because I just don't know if you're aware of them or not. But if you watch as he's walking, he does wring his hocks out. If you don't know what that is, I can send you a video of that. But the other thing he does is he comes way down in his pasterns here. And as he walks, his hocks get a little bit straight besides that wringing out, which is what he's doing right there. And it's hard to see because of the grass, but he's coming way down in his pasterns. So I would just make sure your vet checks him and make sure he doesn't have a ligament problem like DSLD. He's moving pretty good when you're working with him and he's not acting like he's in pain, but I would have him check. And even if he's okay, I would put him on a supplement like Cosequin with MSM, or you could use Devil's Claw or something just to give him some anti-inflammatory because that might help. But he does wring his hocks out. And some horses, they're just bred like that, especially with the walking horses. So here he's walking decently. He's not hard pacing when he's on the lunge line right there. And he looks very attentive, very sweet, kind eye. As you're going forward with him, he does go into a pace, and a lot of walking horses do. You can see his hock ringing right there, and then you can see his hock kind of going straight, and then him coming down in his fetlocks there. There he's pacing again, so we know. Again, so we know he has a natural tendency to go towards the pace. Here she has a nice walk with them. That is a 4-beat walk, and he's nice and relaxed. He does step up a fair amount, so he does have some of that overstride in him. But again, I'm just worried about the ringing and then the coming down in the fetlock. So I would just have a vet evaluate that to make sure we're not making anything worse and we're not hurting him. But at least at the slow walk, he is pretty clear on doing a 4-beat walk. And then we'll see as she goes faster. So there he goes to pacing. There he gaited very well just for a couple of seconds. And then he went back into pacing again. Now it looks like it was going uphill and now it's going a little downhill, and the downhill always makes them pacier. Sometimes it's hard to tell on video if it's going uphill or downhill. But for being a pacey horse, he actually gets quite a nice canter, and he's holding his lead in the front and in the back. And then I think you're going to turn around here. And then he picks up the left lead very nicely in the front and the back. So it looks like he's had some training over the years, either you guys or previously. It's just that he keeps falling into that pace. And the poles did help to separate his. So here she comes again towards the poles, and you'll see he went from pacing to trotting there, and then he went back to gaiting. So here I'm just going to show you, he was pacing, now he's gaiting in a very nice walk and a head shake, and then he got a little bit fast and came out of it. So riding wise, the rider, I'm not sure who it is, if it's you or somebody else, but very good position, shoulder over the hip, heel underneath the hip, the reins are short enough. Pretty good arm position. She could lift her hands up just a little bit. Heels are down. All of that looks really good. And what helped him is when you came from here, it kind of went downhill and then it went uphill. So the uphill helped him to get his gait. What we want to try and do though is try to ride him correctly to get him into the gait instead of depending on the hill. So again, I think he's had some training. I think he knows how to gait, and his gait is going to be in between that trot and the pace. So what I would do is just after you have the vet check him and make sure that he's okay, and again, maybe put him on a supplement or Previcox or something like that to just help him in case he is having any pain in his back end, because it'll help with his gait. Then what I would do is, if you can, I would ride him in a large circle in this field instead of going back and forth. I would ride him in a large circle and I would bend him. And what I would do is start just with the walk and see if you can get him to relax a little bit more and lower his head down more, because that'll relax his back and take him further away from the pace. So just start out with a regular trail walk. So that's a slow walk. And I would also set up a circle of poles, because that will help a fair amount. And what I would do is walk him over the circle of poles, just that slow trail walk for 3 to 5 minutes each direction. See what he can tolerate. And with the poles, I'll send you a video on how to set it up. But in the beginning, all I would do is just use 4 poles. And I set it up like a clock at 12, 3, 6, and 9. Let me get this to brighten back up again. To get him to picking up his legs, it'll help him to round his back, and it will help him to engage some. You can start with just lunging him over the poles just to make sure that he can do it and he's not going to get trippy or anything like that. And then once you've gotten him so he can go over those poles each direction 3 to 5 minutes, and he can do it quite well and is keeping his neck and his back relaxed, which I would think might be a couple of weeks to do that, then you can start speeding him up. And in your brain, you want to think, I just want a faster walk, okay? So what you're going to do is ask him to extend his walk and move out a little bit more just by squeezing with one leg and then the other. Squeeze with the right leg, relax it, and then squeeze with the left leg. And just start asking for more speed. If he starts to go up into that pace, you're going to half halt and slow him back down. So you're just trying to go a little bit faster, but keep him out of the pace. Now, it looks like you have him just in a bosal here. To teach him to gait, it'll be much quicker if you have a snaffle or some kind of bit in his mouth, just because the translation will be quicker than just working off of his nose. And he's probably used to having a bit in his mouth in the past when he was gaiting, so it'll make more sense to him. And all you're going to do to keep his head down is apply pressure. When he's keeping his head down, you'll just release. Everything else I would keep the same, but keeping, again, you're going to do it in a circle, because that bend will also help to keep him out of the pace, and then the poles will help to keep him out of the pace. So you're going to do the faster walk after you've done the trail walk for a couple of weeks. You'll add in a faster walk, and again, you want to think that's just like an extended walk in a regular horse, and you're going to do that for 3 minutes each direction. Do that for 1 to 2 weeks, and then I want you to go all the way up to 5 minutes in each direction. So you'll still be doing the trail walk to warm up. So you'll trail walk each direction for about 3 to 5 minutes. Then you're going to try to get his flat walk for about 3 to 5 minutes. And once he can do that well, which might take a couple weeks to a month, then at that point, he'll be stronger and you might be able to go faster and do your running walk. The confusing part with the running walk, everybody thinks it's going to feel majorly different. It isn't. It's just a faster flat walk. So all you'll do in time is just ask him to speed up from that flat walk, but it should feel the same. So if you start to feel it changing in the saddle, that it feels like a pace or a trot, you're just going to half halt. So the flat walk and the running walk do feel like a walk. It's just a speedier walk, if that makes sense. And then anytime he's doing it well, stop, reward him with some rest. You could give him some treats and then try it again. So you're going to end up doing his, like once you get going and he's doing well, you'll do his trail walk about 3 to 5 minutes each direction. Then you're going to do his flat walk for about 5 minutes each direction. And then you'll do his running walk 5 minutes each direction once you get him up to that speed. Then you're going to keep working him over those poles and conditioning him until he's not falling into the pace at all. The poles help to separate the legs, help him to round his back and gauge himself. So we're using those poles to help to teach him to do that. And if he's not moving off the leg well enough, you can carry a dressage whip and give him little taps behind your leg to help him to go forward. Sometimes as you're going over the poles, the horse will start to slow down in front of the poles to make it easier. You want to keep driving that horse forward over those poles, keeping that same speed. So you might need to tap a little bit with that stick. Now, if you don't know how to bend him, I do have videos on bending, just let me know. But what you're going to do is squeeze and relax with that inside rein as you're pressing slightly with the inside leg. And your outside rein and leg are just going to support that horse. But that bending will supple them and help them to separate the legs, and that's how we're going to be able to get him in a flat walk and a running walk. So he definitely has the talent to do it. I can see it in the video. He does have some training. It's just trying to get that back out of him again, and then again just making sure everything is okay with his joints and his ligaments so we're not hurting him at all. Okay, I hope that helps. Just let me know what questions you have.